Alright, fam. Hello. Happy May 1st. Look, it's the first day of the month, and I basically don't have to work another day for the remainder of this year, right? So this is exactly the type of mindset that I always knew I was gonna be able to attain and achieve. Uh, Literally having visions at the age of 15, right? So I actually was a lot younger. I grew fond of the stock markets literally since I was 11 or 12 years old and 13. I remember I started wanting to explore Robinhood, and there was this app called Stash, and then Fidelity, and then Bitstamp as well. But either way, it started off with basically just a $53,000 morning. I was like, okay, this is great, this is great, this is amazing, right? But then it literally retested my entry. Honestly, it gave me hell because in the second, more like the second time I wanted, it should have really just been two sets of trades, and then I mean, I should have been just done, right? Two sets. I don't mean like two trades. I mean two sets. So the first time, and really it just ended up being like this, right? This was my final profit, literally on the first day of a new month. That's crazy. It's phenomenal. However, these trades that you're all seeing, they're all copy traded. So really, really, I was certain I wanted to see it hold in a certain. I'm actually gonna use supply and demand to talk about this video. It's a very, very, very special and delicate video that I'm making, not because of my profits, but because of how well supply and demand work, and it's actually a lot more advanced and critical thinking rather than support and resistance. So I hate to say it because I know a lot of new people, new beginners are gonna watch this video and they're gonna be like, "Oh, what the heck? A new strategy?" It's not a new strategy. It's just if I were to classify and basically just simplify supply and demand, it's gonna be support and resistance, right? But I just had to fall back on basically what I knew today, and honestly, my first, if I'm talking about these trades, this one at one point I was also down negative 34,000. So and then I was like, okay, I just saw that we were holding supply, or sorry, there was a certain demand area, and I was like, well, just falling back to probably give it supply just to get orders filled. Now, this is what only insider traders know. This is what only like extremely experienced traders know, right? That for every demand, there's got to be supply, and it's going to be followed with a heavy bullish or bearish, however, whatever the sentiment is, but there's going to be followed by an extreme um, sellers or buyers movement, right? Like it's just gonna bleed or be attracted to that area. So as I always said, and I try to keep it dummy simple, but this is not one of those videos where it's gonna be simple. It's gonna be actually really, really, really complicated, and I just want you guys to understand, right? So when you understand support and resistance, yes, they work like magnets, right? They basically force a market opening, this type of liquidity, uh, just to push orders the other direction. Now, we could talk about it on the bigger chart, but really, um, what started off with basically taking $95 per point ended up being basically, I think it was 685 or $95 per point, and I took three of those trades on my second set because my second set she was at a standstill for almost 20 minutes. So yes, I was constantly in and out. Every time I saw it hit 3 to 4 thousand, I was getting ready to just adjust my stop loss. But again, when you're copy trading, there is a lag. You can look at the times. The times were all right next to each other. However, the prices actually varied a lot. So that very, very, very scary. And then you could see intervals that I basically entered. So you could. This was my last time I press buy, so you can see if you just do the math, 95. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now 95 times 7. Let's just do the math over here. 95 times 7. That was my last trade. Yes, $665 per trade. So I took few buys, but my last trade was $665 per point. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. What makes it actually crazier is that I also had 32, I believe it was $31,900 in my trading capital account as just capital, right? That's all I had. So basically, taking $95 was almost full porting that account, and I just completely hit the gas, guys. But I'm gonna show you how one trade can literally, and like how every trading guru says, and I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, but that's actually the truth over here, and I just have to give credit to whatever works, and where the truth lies. But one trade can literally feed generations of wealth. It's just so true, right? So from literally a 31.9 thousand dollar account, now sitting shy of 270. So really, really, really surprising because first of all, yes, this is my own broker. Secondly, it's just I wanted to play with small money, and I don't know what kind of hit me today, and I was it's one of those times where you feel ballsy. Right now, I didn't even consider NAS. However, I did take a look at NAS, and that's yesterday's setup, which I was wrong because look, arrow up, and she just tanked. So, but if we tanked yesterday, then it means today had to be really bullish. If yesterday was very bearish, today had to be very bullish, which made sense. Now, obviously, I did take a look at this, right? But every time it came down, push up, came down, push up, came down, push up, came down, push up. So obviously we want to basically see it hold something right here, something right here. That's fucked up. Something right here, something right here. Right now, I don't really know what time is this. Is this pre-market? Yeah, I don't really know exactly where Nas would have gone, but if I wanted to basically get in a buy, I really, really, really would have wanted to basically see it get on top, right? Meaning my entry should have been right here, and my exit, my TP would have been anything above that. Really, if I wanted to play it safe, it should be anything above that, which still, I want to say 30, 40 points of taking profit would have been great, right? Now, take a look at this, what had happened. She filled me in, or I didn't take this, right? But if I were, she would have filled me in, and next thing you know, I think she just ran, right? So she would have retested my entry, sure. But this is what you call supply and demand. Now, every time it came in this zone, resistance kind of was consolidating here, and then it was, we bounced back in the zone, backed in, and then we tried to break it, but we didn't. In fact, we rejected it, and then she was like, you know what, we can easily break this to the north, right? So that was kind of an easier trade. However, this strategy is very, very complicated, but this is exactly where I want to take my Discord, right? Now, off of free, I just really, if I even break this down in a 1 minute time frame, just to show you guys like how volume crushed it, it was crazy. It was actually phenomenal. All right, actually phenomenal. My entry was would have been literally, if I took it, it would have been right on point. So it's funny, the first minute she already gave you the bait. She already broke that high. At that point, you should have, if you're patient, you would have literally just doubled up your profits if you held it compared to where TP ultimately was, right? That's what I'm saying. Playing with all-time highs and really even all-time lows, but all-time highs is actually one of the easier days trading. A lot of people are going to be like, we don't have much data to work with it, and yes, it's very nerve-wracking. However, it's actually very, very easy because at that point, all you want to do, create new highs, baby. Or you just want to see it reject creating new highs. It's really not that hard, right? It's always the mental stigma. Now, this is the big, big boy. Now, this is the big boy. Really, when I came in market opening, I noticed this. Now, this was one of those rare days where I actually had to look at everything. And I just noticed every time we're bouncing back into this area. So I'm like, clearly we're holding somewhere in here, right? That's the demand because we're consolidating, right? We're consolidating in this area. Now, when we went up, sure, we're holding over here. Push up, came back down. We push up. Now we want to see it come back down so we can create new highs. It's literally just that easy, supply and demand. I could say it's that easy. However, it's always going to feel like 10 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 on how difficult it is, right? Now, really, the way I saw it, we could have had two situations because this was a great demand area, for rejection, or we could easily come down here, basically wick it, and then as I did with my drawing, I want to see this thing wick up. Right, so um, kind of weird that this thing literally just tanked. I can't say I'm surprised, but I wanted to see it tank pre-market. But when we're coming up here, I was like, if she's just gonna wick it over here, I'm gonna take a sell and I'm gonna basically take buys down here. That was always the game plan. However, she literally didn't wick it. She literally just came down here, and I instantly just took as many buys as I can over here. But she, very choppy though. If we break it down to the 1 minute time frame, very choppy. Every time she came up, I literally just this 3 minutes, I took already a spam of trades. Sorry. So then she came back down, and I was like, you know what? That's why I always tell you guys, just look at one time frame and stick to the one time frame that you analyze on. That way, it's just so easy to actually get it on. Right now, my last set of trades that basically was $8,000 each. Was it this one? Yeah, $8,000 to $9,000 each. What's crazy is that I knew I wanted to keep one set of trades just running. So as you can see, if you just take a math, if you just take a look, 793 I bought it to 901, and even then 901 was not here. 901 was literally just peeking out right here on my broker. So taking buys from literally the wick to all the way double top body over here. All I'm gonna say is that I'm not shocked. And then when we created higher highs, yes, it was expected. I did honestly want to see this. I was not thinking about points move, how many points that could be. But when I was like, after I got out, I was like, wow, I could have, if I took this as my small account, it would have been fucking great. But at the same time, I don't really, really, really want to risk. I don't know. I'm just feeling pretty tilted and pretty fucked up from yesterday. So to have this type of day, it re-energizes me. Typically, just makes me want to come back stronger than ever. But I literally was thinking of a way to just detox. So it just, all I was thinking about, since I'm back home over here, the West Coast, all I could think about is just getting out of town. I made my money. I made vacation money. I made drinks. I made good food money. I made literally, $900 worth of steak for me and all my nieces type of money, and some friends too, right? I made that type of money where I could literally book a suite in a fancy ass hotel type of money, for a few nights, not even just one night, not even 2 nights. This is how I like to live my life, right? My nieces, they're all, the youngest one is 18, the oldest one being 22. I'm gonna spoil the fuck out of them. So that's all I really care about in life. I think that's all what life is about. And then, as always, you come back and you repeat it, right? It's rinse and repeat, truly. So this is using supply and demand 101, meaning this is just an introduction. Now this is a great strategy. However, this is a really, really tough strategy. Really tough strategy. But if you can get through support and resistance, and if you want to challenge, learn supply and demand, man, this is definitely gonna give you something to trip about. It takes balls, it takes a lot of guts to trade a strategy as tough as this. So that's look. I'm gonna say one more time. Drop a like, drop a comment. Show some love, because I am, not randomly though, but I am gonna pick probably 2 people to bless up. If I'm eating good, if I'm enjoying good, I want to at least spread some of it back. Even if it's just gonna be 2 people, I might do another 3 or 4 people. I don't know. I really don't know. Definitely want to do at least 2 people. Although I just feel like I've done a lot more for people than what any online guru or any online person has ever done. Now that they're saying that they're making free courses as well, and I feel like I'm the one who kind of started the movement, because now so many people are like, well, if you make good money like some other people, then why don't you offer them for free as well? And they're like, but now their affiliation codes are getting them 6 figures, or almost close to 7 figures, or halfway to 7 figures a month. And then they're like, okay, well, I don't need to sell anything anymore, because they're set for the rest of their life. Not me though, not me. but I make all my money from trading. Um, this is all I want to say, guys. So if you want to join, I am only gonna pick somebody that I know for a fact has been showing me a lot of love, that has Cash App or Zelle. And yes, if you have Zelle, you're probably gonna see my real name. So we're gonna talk about that in DMs. But we I wanna keep somebody. I wanna give and bless somebody who's been close to me in the Discord and showing me love, and it just makes sense whoever also shows love on that video. This video, sorry. So as always, there's actually about 12 people who shows love every single time. So as always, peace, love, and cheers. Peace, love, and cheers. Yep, I said that right.